Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil Amuti, and I am over here counting stacks, saving the world, raising money, freeing kids day by day with my favorite financial literacy expert, Tiffany the Budgetnista, Aliche.
Hey, Sybil.
Hey, girl. You like our intro? We over here counting stacks.
Yes.
We changing the world. We're giving.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Tiffany. Tiffany, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually good. It's, despite all the craziness, I'm good. My family's good, which is most important. So that's what I mean by good. It's definitely a stressful time. And so I'm just trying to lean into my gifts and share them with the world even more so.
Yes, I love it. And how much weight have you gained, lost, or maintained?
So I had lost 5 pounds, but then the last few days I done gained that 5 pounds right back. I said, okay. You know what? Well, also because, I love to walk. And so I was walking every day. It was just great. It was therapeutic. And now we have our shelter in place. And so we can't, and honestly, rightfully so. But as a result, I do have like a little mini gym, a treadmill and a row machine in the basement, but I don't feel like it.
I know, right? But I did ask myself, I said, are these survival Oreos? Like, are you really like, are these Oreos and like these Twix, are they like part of your kid Sybil? Like, what are you doing? And they are. That's sort of my emotional eating. So I've done, got back like 5 pounds that I had shelved, and I'm like, all right, Sybil, you know what? You can't come out of May looking strange. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But that's one of those things is, we're in the house and we're working and we're in front of our computers and there's so much going on and we're trying to balance all of that. And that comes with a little extra eating and compensating, I would say for the time being, but we're going to be all right.
Yeah, we are going to be all right.
I look at it like this. If we all do it as a unit, like if we all have an extra 5, like the whole population,
then it's all. It even net we even. We make it the 8 the new 6. You're like, oh no, this not a 6. It's an 8 now. Mm-hmm.
We in it together. So that's my hope. My hope is that nobody try to flex out of this thing with like a whole new body and then look at us like we crazy. I'm hoping we all in this as a unit. But speaking of a unit, there are so many great things that you've done, Tiffany, as you pulled, the community, the entire unit of dream catchers behind you. And I am so grateful to know and see up front how this most recent project has taken flight for you, which is your new children's book.
Yes.
I
know. Honestly, it's so crazy because, for those who know me, I used to be a preschool teacher for 10 years. Uh-huh. And so it feels like such a full circle moment from reading every children's book out there, Brown Bear, Olivia. Mm-hmm. If you have kids, these like, Dr. Seuss, and from reading those books day in, day out to my preschool classroom, then to actually having a book I can see inside a preschool classroom. It's really a surreal moment.
Yeah. That's special. Okay, so tell me, why a book?
Well, education is key. And when a child can read, they can unlock just about any door.
Yeah.
And I just thought, so when I taught preschool, one of the things that I found missing were there weren't enough faces that looked like mine and the kids that I taught on the front cover of books. So that was one. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure that the lead character of my book, Molly, that she was chocolate. Okay.
Yes.
And 2, I remember I have my little Michael Jackson afro. My hair is thick and super kinky, and I love my little ringlets. And I wanted to make sure Molly had her little afro on the front cover too, to represent for girls who look like that. And 2, one of the best ways to teach, especially kids, and I would say preschool to like first grade, one of the best ways to teach them life lessons is through story. Mm-hmm. So it's the reason why, like your child will love whatever they're watching now, Paw Patrol or PJ Masks or Dora, or these are all stories. Children love stories. And so books are a great way to disseminate information and learning new lessons. And so I knew that if I really wanted to transform the behavior in children and later on into their adulthood, that the best way to do so was going to be through a book.
Yeah. You know, the other great thing about books is that, I've inherited books over time. Books are evergreen. A book can
Yes.
live for 40, 50 years. You can pass down a book. And so many generations can really reach, you can tell the story, and you can kind of really, I don't know, you can set a real strong foundation through, inheriting books. Because I think about Dr. Seuss, and the original ones that I got were so raggedy. They were my sister's books, and those jokers have been it's like they ate the books. But I was so excited to have my own collection of books. I consider them my own, even though they were total hand-me-downs, but they were mine to have in my first collection. And so you're absolutely right. It's something so special, so different when you're looking at yourself on the front of a book.
Yes.
Like, it really feels like it's your own.
And yeah, books are heirlooms, right? You're right. They pass down from generation to generation, and a really good book really lives on forever, long after the author is long gone. That book will live on forever. So yeah, it was just kind of like, I feel like, this Molly Moore, this first book, Happy Birthday, Molly Moore, is one of a series of books that I'm writing under that character. And I wanted to kind of be my legacy outside of the Budgetnista. I really feel like this is going to be my legacy, that babies 20, 30, 50 years from now, somebody's kid is going to be looking at Molly Moore and say, she looks like me, and it's going to read the story and get the lesson intended.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing better than leaving a legacy of education.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So now you've been educating us, the moms, the women, for years now, and you
10 years.
Come on, girl. Congratulations. Because let me tell you something. Anyone that is an entrepreneur knows that 10 years and to look amazing and feel amazing and still be in it in 10 years, it's worth celebrating. So let me first celebrate that. But you have used the power of community and the power of great messaging and quality content to really shape a nation of women who are ready to take charge financially, to really make some really strong groundwork, to set foundations for their family, all the things that are essential to building a financial legacy. So now we're kickstarting with the girls. And it's not just girls. Let me be clear. Your sons can read this book too.
Yes.
But it is so special to see a small African-American girl who is who lives a life of service, who loves community, who wants to start thinking about money so early. And I think that's really special, Tiffany.
So yes, because that's what I wanted to really, even for parents, like sneakily, this book is also teaching y'all as you reading to the babies. I hope you're getting the lesson as well. Right?
So true.
And so, I wanted the premise of this first book, Happy Birthday, Molly Moore, to really be what I call foundational financial education. So not overt, like this is $1. Right. So in the story, Molly, and to be clear, Molly is spelled M-A-L-I. Get a little culture in there for her name. Right.
Yes,
so in Molly. The story, right. So it's Molly's birthday, and like it opens up, and it's the traditional get your hair done picture when you were a little brown girl, right? Sitting between your mom's legs, a little jar of grease on the couch with a wide tooth comb.
I love it.
And yes. And so she's getting her hair done, and she picks out her little outfit. And she at first is just really excited because she's having an old school birthday party. I know so many young parents now, first birthday, they renting out the hall and the jump play, right? But back in the day, until I was about 10, my birthday party was right in that basement, right?
A cake and a cousin.
Yes, I love that. Cake and a cousin.
That was it. Yes. That was birthday.
Yes. And you enjoyed it because you were like,
oh, yes, we got cake.
Yes, and likely your mama baked that cake.
Of course she did. Candles were probably from the last birthday. Yep. This is what it was.
And so I wanted to kind of take it back to there so at first she's really excited that her friends and family are coming over to celebrate her birthday. And then you start to see a shift, and something that the teacher and me fully understand. So I have my master's in education. So something the teacher and me understand just from reading literally thousands of books and just from experience, and of course from my educational background, is that kids, especially young children, respond really well to rhyme because it gives them a little bit of autonomy. They feel like they can participate. It's one of the reasons why you see your kid will want to watch the same show over and over and over again, or want to sing the same song over and over and over again. It's because children ages 3 to 7 have very little control of their lives. Right? If you're 3 years old, you know, you're liable to walk by your mama and she pull you to the side and then pull the back of your pants and see if you went to the bathroom on yourself. Like, you can't even decide, like, lady. Like,
that's right. I have a choice. No.
Exactly. Your life is somebody else, belongs to somebody else, right?
That's
and so
right.
As a result, rhyming is a way that kids feel like, I know a thing. I can participate here. I'm a big kid, you know? And so the book rhymes, and that's intentional. And there is a chorus throughout the book that goes, each time a new guest comes to the door, more, says Molly, more, more, more. And you start to realize that, like, in the beginning, she's excited about her family and friends, and then she becomes more excited about the gifts. And so you see this shift in her behavior. And so kids, you know, will start to pick up on, Molly's reaching for the present, not her aunt. Her aunt looks sad here. You know, Molly is looking at, you know, her new toys instead of hanging out with her family that are in the living room waiting. And their faces look a little sad. And then it kind of climaxes when it's time to blow out her candle. The rhyme there goes that Molly has more presents than she can handle, but no one to help her blow out her candle. And she's got the little 6 candle on her cake. And you see her sad face, and she's looking at the people outside playing. And that's when she has to make a decision that what does more really mean? And then this time when her guest comes to the door, she does say more, more, more. But this time she says more laughter, more hug, more kisses, more birthday wishes. And so you see that she decides that more truly means like what's truly valuable to her, which is really quality time. And throughout the story, because there's also counting involved in the story. So because every time guests bring presents, you get to count all the gifts that Molly has. And so when she gets her gift, she realizes she has multiple. So like I'll read you one of the rhymes from like one of the pages where she has multiple gifts. So this is just a great way for parents to also help their children count, because I made sure that the illustrator lined up the gifts in such a way that it's easy for children to count and point them out. So here's one of her gift pages. 1 bike, 2 bows, 3 books, and 4 cats, 2 cars, 4 phones, 6 socks, and 8 hats. And so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's intentional. And so now, you know, if you have a child that's a little older, you could talk about counting by twos, or a child that's a little younger, you could start counting just in general. And, but you also see that Molly has multiple things. She's got 2 bowls. She's got 3 books. She's got 4 cats and 4 phones. She doesn't need all of that. So toward the end of the book, Molly decides to Molly gives some of her presents away to help others smile when it's their birthday. So Molly decides to donate. So you see her actually packing up a box with her little brother, Malcolm, and they're going to donate. And then you see her and her parents at the local community center. And you see the children playing with the extra toys that Molly got for her birthday. And the last line of the book is, giving can mean more, and so can sharing. What will you do to show that you're caring? And so that's an opportunity for the adult reading the book to a child to extend and say, like, you know, so what can we do? And if they're not sure, because like the educator and me wanted to make sure you had all the tools you needed, that at the back of the book, there's something called the extend the lesson questions. And what I love about the extend the lesson questions is that I show you how to extend the lesson, not only through these questions, but how to make this a reading lesson, how to make it a writing lesson, how to make it a listening lesson or speaking lesson. These are the 4 components of the way you want children to interact with a new subject or basically a new subject. So like, why do you think Molly wanted more gifts? Have you ever felt like Molly? If you want your child to read, find 2 times in the story when Molly wants more gifts. If you want your child to write, think of a word to describe Molly at her birthday and try to spell it on paper. You want your child to listen, tell your reader about a time that you felt like having too much was not a good feeling. And if you want your child to speak, have your reader tell you about a time they might have wanted too much. So these are like, I align these with federal standards of like, a child ages 3 to 7 should be able to articulate how they've learned a lesson, or to be able to show how they've learned a lesson through reading, through writing, through listening, through speaking. And then I added an additional section where here's some extended lesson activities. So if you're like, well, what can I do to really make sure that I drive this lesson home with my kid? So one of the activities is clean up your reader and yourself can clean up your classroom or your bedroom and make a pile of items that they can donate to other children. Have them help you choose the organization to donate to. So that's one of the activities, because then that's how you take a lesson that's from a book and extend it beyond the book.
Yeah.
You know, because I know parents need help sometimes, or even teachers. You might say, this is a great book, but what now? So I didn't want to leave you hanging with the what now. I wanted to not only give you this awesome book, but to give you and this is how you make sure you drive home that lesson. And then there'll be additional lessons that you can get access to for free at mollymore.com. And so, I'm just really proud of, because once you get the book in your hand, Sylvia, you will see, like, I left no stone unturned. Like the teacher in me was like, I pulled all the things, the cadence, even the length of rhyme, making sure, like, I did the research, making sure it wasn't too long, making sure the length of rhyme matched each other. So it wasn't like, the boy runs fast, and because he needs cash. Like, you have to make sure rhymes are the same number of syllables for the little ones, because if they're not, it throws them off. So if it's like 2 syllables too long or 2 syllables too short, they can't anticipate when the rhyming word is supposed to appear. And so things like that are super critical. Sometimes I read children's books and I wonder, did anybody consult a teacher for this?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's beautifully. I was actually talking to Brandis the other day. We had like lunch, like, I don't know, 2 months ago, something like that. And she said, she was like, for Sky, her daughter, she was like, people will give her books. And she's like, how old is Sky now? Is she 4?
She's 4, yeah.
So she was like, girl, I'll get a book and I'll open the page. I'm like, grand opening, grand closing. Too many words on the page.
Too much, yeah.
Sky is 4.
Yeah.
You have a whole soliloquy.
Yes.
A Harry Potter page on a 4-year-old's book. The picture is beautiful, but she's not going to sit still long enough. So I was very conscious of that too, that you should be able, because I practice with as many kids as I could. And I have a niece that is 2, Amelia. And so I'm reading the book to her and just seeing just how long before she's like, turn, next,
That's so true. Because they want to get through it. They want to go. And once they feel like they've processed the picture, they're ready to.
Next, girl, next.
That's it. And I really think that's what makes Brown Bear a hit. It's like 4 words on the page. And
that's it. Brown Bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. Next.
That's it.
Yes.
Keep moving.
Yes.
That's so funny. But I want to touch on something you said is so important. And I want to also ask you a question. You've been talking about what is your more. That's one of the first things you talked about at the Great Girlfriends Conference in 2015. You've been speaking that to women, asking and helping women to clarify, you got to know your more. Part of what gets us in debt is living out other people's more. Yes. And now I think that's so valuable that children can inherit that same message of deciding what your more is as a child, because peer pressure is real. Even with little bitty kids, the pressure to want to play with a certain toy, do things a certain way, and it just escalates. But what you're teaching a level of independence that I feel is so valuable, because I think one of the strongest things we can do is teach our kids to be independent thinkers, to have their own level of consciousness that can be protected from bias that they'll pick up along the way. But having them consider their own more is so special. And now my question for you is this one. Tell us how early should we be teaching financial literacy?
So typically around the age of 3 or 4, children will start to say, Mommy, Daddy, Auntie, Uncle, Grandma, Grandpa, can you buy me? There's a difference between can you buy me and can I have?
Yeah.
So, so Amelia, who is 2, still says, can I have? Because she doesn't know where anything comes from, and nor does she care and give it to me.
That's right.
Right? But Roman, her brother, who is 4, will say, Auntie, can you buy me this? Meaning that somewhere along the way, he has figured out that there is an exchange for money for the things that he wants. So when people say it's not appropriate to teach financial education to children as little as 3 and 4, it's inappropriate not to. Because the baby knows. The baby knows. He said bye.
Yeah. And they're watching everything. That's so true.
So that's why I said around that, when you start to hear that language, can you buy me? Then you want to make sure that they're making the appropriate connections. And so one of the things is, making financial education like really fun. So it doesn't have to be this like this big overture. So one of the things what we would do for the kids when I taught preschool is we would do a penny drive because I really wanted to teach them service. And I knew where I taught was in Newark, New Jersey, and a lot of the parents were struggling financially. So I didn't want to have undue pressure on them to participate. But people throw pennies on the floor.
Yeah.
And so what I loved is that parents had no problem bringing in pennies. They're like, oh, okay. And so I talked to the kids about that. There are some kids out there who don't have a lot. And we like to share, just like we like to share in school. And if you can bring pennies, and every week we'll count them. So I had one of those big water bottle jars, and they would bring their pennies in, and they loved, because kids are many children are what they call kinesthetic learners, meaning that they learn through movement. Yeah. So picking the penny up, dropping it in the jar, and then hearing that cling, that's very satisfying. So or if you have a bag of pennies and pouring it in, and then you hear that rush of sound of metal clinking, that's also really exciting. And then, like I said, once a week, we would pour the pennies out, and then we would count. And then we would chart it on a piece of paper next to the penny. I found like a little thermometer reward chart where it's like how much we have $1. That's 100 pennies. Do you see how that's age appropriate for a 3-year-old? Yeah. And you and I know $1 can't do much. Yeah. But to them, it was like, well, what can we do with it? Because now you're even starting to teach them, what can $1 do? Yeah. Yeah. Because they're starting to make connections. Like you'll start to see like, there's literally these little synapses in children's brains where they will make connections very quickly. Like, oh, okay, apple's red. Oh, I eat apple. And all of a sudden, like it goes from, like I used to call my sister Carol, the one with the 2 kids. And I would hear Amelia in the background, like 6 months ago, she would say, "Who that?" Like, so whenever I call, right? Because I was like, she barely had the language. Now when I call, it's like 6 months later. Look how quickly those connections are made. Yeah. 6 months later, I call my sister now. Mommy, who's that? Is that Auntie Tiffany on the phone? Can I talk to her? But within 6 months, it's like learning a whole new language. Imagine I speak to you today, Sybil, and 6 months later, you're speaking to me in Chinese. That's the essence of what's happening. So that's why it's so important to catch them when you can. Yeah. Because they're making those connections very quickly. So consistent effort like that, like, doing that penny drive. I had the children make savings boxes where I wanted to explain to them what depositing meant and like what a bank meant. And so like their savings box was really like their savings account. And so they would play Monopoly money every day for doing their job at school. Like, oh, you cleaned up? You get paid today. They know they got $1 for an okay job, $2 for a great job, and no dollars if they didn't do it. And so like learning that, and then they would know, Miss Tiffany, can I deposit my money in my savings account? You see, like giving them the word, right? But it's fun and it's age appropriate, and then they put their money in, and then every 2 weeks, I used to go to the dollar store and get some tchotchkes, Yeah. And then they were allowed to go shopping. So they would go to their savings account and withdraw. So I'm giving them the language. You ever see a baby who gets baby talk to all the time? And it's like, well, of course the baby sounds like a baby. That's how you talk to them.
That's how you, exactly.
Yes. I mean, how are they supposed to know that you mean bottle instead of baba? You say baba.
But all you say is baba. Right. Yes. So they're like, give me the baba, please.
Yes. And so like, but then you see children who are like 2 and they're like, hello, mommy, can you give me a bottle, please? Because they only know what you've shown them.
That's right.
So giving them the language and the right words for things is critical. So, like I remember because my mom was a nurse, and I look back on it, I'm like, Mama, you didn't have to give me like the technical words. Because I can remember being in kindergarten and my teacher would be like, do you have to go to the bathroom? Tiffany, I'm like, yes, I have to urinate. And she's like, say what now? What? I was like, my mother was like, that's what it is. I'm like, look, everybody's not a nurse, mommy. That was like
so funny. Oh my God. And your teacher's like, what do I do with this? They don't know what to do.
She's like, oh, okay, go ahead and urinate.
I love it.
Is that not the word? So the same thing with financial language, deposit, withdraw. Because then when you use that language for you, because kids are self-centered, like most people, but especially little ones, super self-centered.
That's real.
Right. So, but if you bring it into their lives, like, I have my little job at home or at school, I get paid for that job. I deposit my money in my savings account, which is just a shoebox.
Mm-hmm.
I withdraw my money when I want to spend something.
Yeah.
My budget is how much money I actually have. So you're giving them those words. So when you say those words in your adult life, they're making that connection.
That's right.
Mommy, Miss Tiffany, can you buy me this thing? Oh, it's not in my budget.
That's
I've actually had kids say at 4, well, then why don't you just withdraw money from your bank account? Can you imagine at 4? And I'm like, well, no, because I don't have any money there. You didn't go to work today? Because, yes, I'm like, wow, they're making the connection. In their mind,
I love it.
When I withdraw money from my shoebox, which is my bank account, that's because I worked.
That's so I earned.
Yes. Yeah.
You didn't earn?
Clearly, yes, exactly. So it was just like,
I love it.
So fun. And so you can do that too. So, but daily conversations, consistency. So fun, making it relevant to the child's life, and consistency. So I've got a bonus baby, Aliche. She, my stepdaughter, she's 13, but since she's been 5 years old, when her father and I started dating, she, we would say things like budget, she loves Staples because she's like a crafts girl. Mm-hmm. So she would always ask me, Tiffy, what's my budget? When we got to Staples, and I would give her like a budget, maybe like a $5 budget. Mm-hmm. And she knew like, this is the kids section with the markers and the crayons and this and that. And she knew she had to figure out how many things she can get within that $5.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't tell her at first about tax because I wanted her to learn at the register.
Yes. It's so disappointing.
Yes. And I was mad at the lady because the lady let it slide. I was like, no, girl, we're trying to teach her something.
That's right. So she can't afford these markers. Right.
Yes. So she was so cute with her little chubby cheeks. So she gets up to the front with her little pencils and like whatever little 3-pack of markers. And it's exactly $5. And the lady's like, oh, that'll be $5 and whatever, 20-something cents. And she's like, why the 20-something cents? Oh, well, listen, that's tax. Well, what's tax? Well, when you buy certain things, there's tax on it. And the government uses that to build a school that you go to school or to use for the road. So she's looking like, but I don't have the 26 cents. I'm like, yes, that's why we have to anticipate that there's going to be tax. So never adding up to the full $5. And she was like, well, what do I do now? The lady's like, oh, don't worry, baby. I'm going to put it in. I looked at the lady like, you see, right. This is why these babies don't learn nothing. But I let it slide. But it was good but you see, those are daily lessons that you can do. Because you have to make financial education like
That's so true.
Relevant. Because then what happens is you have a 4-year-old that starts to understand. Then you have a 14-year-old that understands more. Then you have a 24-year-old. Then you have a 30-year-old that doesn't sleep on your couch.
That's so true.
So when you want to introduce it, the sooner the better. When children start using the language that they understand that money exists, now's the time for you to swoop in and start teaching financial education in a way that's age appropriate.
That's real. And parents, we know literally, every time I have to teach them a lesson, it reinforces something that I'm either doing or not doing. And so I would say to any parent, don't be afraid of the lessons that you learn when you start teaching literacy. Mm-hmm. When you get a book like Happy Birthday, Molly Moore in your hands, that book is enlightening everyone in the house. And those things are good. And now more than ever, we know, a lot of people have their kids home right now. Well, everybody got their kids home, not just a lot. The whole world got their kids at home. But people are starting to see and really take a very close look at, okay, my kid does know this, my kid's not learning this, or, just having a different level of awareness around what their kids do and do not know. But this is also a prime opportunity for us to dive into teaching principles that we want them to leave the house with after all of this stuff, after we move forward and we're back outside of whatever this new level of life is. We can give them lessons that they can start to utilize, and we can start implementing them now in our house. So everything that you're learning as a dream catcher, you can start pouring that into bite-sized nuggets into your kids. And when this book hits their hands, they're ready to just take in all of this information. They're ready to teach their friends. I think it's so cool because that's what happens when kids know something. Everybody gets it. Like you're going to learn about their favorite book. You're going to get this whole Happy Birthday, Molly Moore from my daughter when she reads it. It's just what happens. Like they want to share. And that's so important for us. I think it's a really great time for us to have such an empowering tool, Tiffany, because now more than ever, I think we need to see what forward looks like. What does forward look like? It's not just a teacher's responsibility. We don't have to rehearse mistakes over and over again. We can change the
Yes.
landscape for our kids. We can start practicing small things in the house. We can start building success charts, different
Yes.
things that we can do to empower now so that when we do deploy, when we're back out in the world doing whatever we choose, our kids can make really strong decisions. So I'm excited and I'm so proud of you because I know Molly that was a heart project for you. That
Yes, it
was
was.
like,
I'm telling you, it's been over 15 years. This is like,
yeah,
so, because I told myself, it wasn't about a business. It wasn't about anything else. I wanted to deliver something that, that came straight from my heart and that I knew was going to be truly of service
yeah.
to children and their families. And so I said, when the right time comes, it was a story that had already told this first story. I used to say it verbally to the kids. And I think even back then I put some construction paper together, did a little stick figure, configuration to read it to them. And then I want to say maybe 5 years ago, I started looking for an illustrator. And I probably interviewed like 5 or 6 folks. I would pay them to just draw an illustration of what they thought Molly ought to look like. I gave them Alyssa, my bonus baby's picture when she was 6 years old. And it was like, this is the model. And then from there, I finally found this amazing illustrator, Jazz. And let me just share this, that my mentee always teases me. She's younger than me, so she calls me Auntie Tiff. She's like, Auntie Tiff, like, you have such patience because, like this newer generation, and I get it, that people feel like you put 6 months in a year and it did pop, what's wrong?
Girl.
And, that to me, like you have to understand the principles of sowing and reaping.
Yes.
And that now I reap daily, but I've been sowing for 10 years straight. And so it takes some seeds, there are some seeds that grow like weeds. Next day you have a weed.
That's right.
Seeds, that you grow and you have to wait till next summer. The grass is not going to grow this summer. There's some seeds like an oak tree, it's some decades in.
Yeah.
You have to plant that seed and you just have to wait. But if you plant consistently, then you will sow consistently eventually. And so I wasn't in a rush for this seed. This was an oak tree. I wasn't in a rush for this seed because I had other seeds. I had weeds, grass, flowers popping up all over the place from seeds that I had sown. I said, I can wait on the oak tree.
Yeah.
And plus 2, what you really learn is that what I've learned is not to rush through to the door I want to open. So let's just say it's door 10 you want to get to. And you're like, oh, I don't want to go through door 1 through 9. I just want to get to door 10. So let's just say for whatever reason, you're allowed to get to door 10 without going through doors 1 through 9. And door 10 is locked to you because the key is at door 3.
That's right. Girl, you
nasty, right? And so you learn, so for example, if I had tried to do this earlier, I did not know Jazz McDaniel, my illustrator.
Yeah.
I met Jazz 5 years ago. So it wouldn't have been right the way Molly looked. And even after I met Jazz, he and I worked together for like a year. We couldn't get it quite right. I put it down. I ended up buying a house, put on social media, hey, I'm looking for a designer to help me with my house. A friend of mine said my friend Rihanna is an amazing designer. She has this company, Remain Home. She can help you design. Rihanna and I became fast friends. She ended up moving around the corner for me. One day I slipped and was like, something, this children's book is not looking right. And she's like, oh, let me take a look. Didn't realize that Rihanna had her master's in design from, I think it's Drexel in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. And Rihanna can design all things. I thought that she just was like an interior designer. No. Design school taught her all the things. She was like, well, girl, that's only because you need to do this. I was like, oh, can you tell us to my illustrator? 20,000 phone calls later, Rihanna is on the team now. And Molly looks amazing as a result of her art direction. I didn't know Rihanna yet. I just met her 2 years ago.
Door 5. Yes.
So, and you're like, oh. And then, Kickstarter, I didn't know anything about Kickstarter. There was a book that I needed to read first, got that book, and that's what enabled me to have, a successful Kickstarter. But the truth is, my team is fairly new. They're about 4 years old. I didn't have a team 10 years ago. I didn't know what a heavy lift Kickstarter was. Yeah. It required most of my team to help to run the Kickstarter. So imagine if I would have done this 4 years ago. There's no way I could have done this by myself. So all of these, I've learned to be patient in the unfolding of the thing that I want, that my job is to do the work. Are you doing the work required? do the work, and the thing will unfold the way it's supposed to. You might not have known the person yet. You might not know the platform yet that you need to launch it on. You might not figure out where you're going to publish it. You know, your friend has to know a friend that told you that, and that's not happening until April, but you don't know that yet.
You don't know it. You know? That's right.
Yes. So, and as a result, when I tell you, like, I am someone who's hard on myself, and I'm not easily impressed with anything that I do. I'm like, cute girl, but you know, you could have done this.
Yeah.
It's like the Nigerian upbringing. I don't know if you know.
Yes. Where are the other 2 points?
What? Oh, 98. And my dad's favorite thing was, look at her, and she's happy about it. She's happy about it. 98. When there's 100 out there to be had. You're like, what? So as a result, like I look at stuff, I'm like, it could be better. Molly Moore, I look at it, and for the first time in like my adult life, I'm like, wow, I don't know what else I could have done. I am immensely proud of this book and the things that God has aligned. I mean, production companies have already reached out to turning it into a cartoon. Major networks interested. I already got from a huge book publisher. Like if I said the name, you're like, oh, it's like top 5 book publishers. Saw when I did this, I did like a little, I posted her cover on my Facebook page, reached out saying, we want to offer you money to buy the book. Just off the top. I said no, because I said no to the book publishing. I said no to the publisher. I said no to all of them because I want ownership of Molly and the story that she's going to tell to other brown babies.
Yes.
You know? And I don't want that, like, Molly has her mom and her dad, and I don't want, like, all of a sudden her dad is missing. You know, people love to do stuff.
Come on.
I'm like, no. So I love creative control. I'll see you in a year when I have blown Molly up, and then we can sit down at the table and have a different kind of conversation. I want the Michael Jordan deal.
That's right.
Right? So Michael Jordan is like, there's Jordan brand at Nike. Let's be clear. That's a partnership, not an ownership.
Yeah.
And so, so I'm just sharing that because I know that sometimes, you know, it can be hard as you're working on something. And like I said, this is over 15 years in the making. It doesn't mean that other things don't happen in between, but I've learned to be patient in the unfolding of my dreams. And I hope y'all will too. And I didn't even share the Molly Moore site. Can I share it?
Girl, of course. So share it.
Super simple. Just mollymore.com to scoop your copy of the book. It's MALIMORE. And get you a little this chocolate goodness boy or girl, because when kids are that little, they don't care. Molly has a rabbit. And let me tell you, all my niece and nephew care about is her rabbit, Winnie. Where's Winnie? Why is Winnie sleeping? Why is Winnie sad? Like, and I did that on purpose because I know how much kids love animals. So Molly has a little best friend. Like, and so, so
that's a whole other product.
Oh, yes. Your
have
boys
products
and
upon products.
I can't wait. Honestly, that's what we're working on now. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it out there. Like I would love to do a Molly Moore doll. I did hire a young woman named Yolanda from My Brown Baby Doll on Instagram. She crocheted me some Molly Moore dolls, and they were absolutely beautiful.
Crocheted, I bet they're amazing.
Oh my goodness, they're like, you know, these are like little lifetime products, and it's something I had in the Kickstarter, so they're no longer available because it just takes her so long to do them.
Yeah.
But I would love to, if anybody knows ways for me to produce a doll, I would love information about that because I just feel like she deserves to be a doll on the shelf, a little chocolate baby doll on the shelf.
Girl, I love it so much. I do. We're going to give away 5 copies of Happy Birthday, Molly Moore. So you can email welcome@thegreatgirlfriends.com. If you are the first 5 to get a book, we will ship it out to you because we want to make sure Molly has the best birthday ever, girl.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Thank you. More cousins.
Yeah, more cousins. And know this, and we were supposed to do this, but one of the things I wanted to do for her launch party is I really wanted to have a series of birthday parties around the country. And the focus being that we were going to celebrate children in foster care or in transitional housing, that we would invite them out to these birthday parties and then invite the community to pour love and presents and cupcakes and pizza into these children.
Oh,
and so that was
like
the plan. So we're still going to do that once, the Rona has lifted.
Yeah.
And it's safe again. But so I definitely definitely look out for that. That's literally a series of birthday party and like old school. We're not like at your local library, at your local community center.
Yeah.
And we'll be mailing out different components that you need. And just like I said, like a homegrown birthday party where you invite the community to love on kids that might be going through a difficult time right now.
Oh, I love that. Girl, you better keep us posted on that. That is amazing.
I will.
Oh my gosh. Great girlfriends. Tiffany never leaves you with little. She gonna give you everything in her arsenal. Like you do every single time. You never give a dose. You give a full cup. And you're just so rich in every way. And I'm so grateful to know you and know that this is real. This is not just her selling a product. This is life.
Yes.
This is a whole lifestyle for you. Girl, yes. Your heart is just, your heart for people is huge. Your impact is huge because your intentions are so pure. And I just have such a respect for the work you do always. So I'm so proud of Molly because Molly is so much bigger than you and I. She is a legacy. She's a legacy for our culture. She's an introduction of a new voice for our children. And there's so much power behind that. So much power behind that.
Yes.
But again, like you said, do the work, go through the doors. Don't try to skip the process. Stay in it, great girlfriends, because Tiffany's an example of what faith and resilience looks like when you're steady. You got to stay steady. So, girl, kudos to you. I'm not going to keep you all day. You know I would. You know, I totally, because there's so much we have to talk about. But great girlfriends, do head over to grab your copies of Happy Birthday, Molly Moore. And if you're a great girlfriend, you're going to get one for yourself, one for your niece, your nephew, your coworker's daughter. This is a gift just for every child to really partake in. So do consider all the kids in your life, not just one or two. Consider all of them, because I think about this. If I give a kid a Barbie or a book that's going to teach them how to take life to the next level and help them identify themselves and feel like she's got a superpower, and just I'm going to do that first. So I'm just saying.
Yes. And know that every book that you buy, we separate a portion to donate books to children in low income communities, because I know what it looks like when kids don't have books at home, quality books at home. So you get yourself a hardcover book, and it helps us to give a soft cover book to as many kids as possible.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, my favorite financial literacy educator in the whole wide world, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Budgetnista, Aliche. I'm so grateful to have you on again. I'm going to have to get you back later, but this was great. You're so special.
Great girlfriends, did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast, into the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group, The Great Girlfriends. You follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_great_GFS. Last but not least, we'd like to thank my amazing husband, Kwaku, Sam and Dilly, and all of you for being a part of the global community that makes us so strong. Please remember to share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil Amuti, and I'm out. Peace.